Good evening and welcome to So Much Game for the 4th session of Worlds Without Numbers with Sofinho, as we dive deeper into the Citadel this week, building on what we made last week. And this week he's also gone to the effort of making a very pretty map, which is next to me, of the Citadel, the well that goes down, and then a bit of the pit where the port city is, and a moon.
Yeah, sorry about that. Bit of artistic license there.
That's fine. We didn't say there weren't any moons.
That's true.
Yeah.
I should say that I was playing around with Illustrator. I'm not really familiar with the application, so this was my first attempt to make something reasonably presentable. And of course, you know, like everyone exploring an application, they start to go, oh, I can do this with this. And so one of the things I wanted to do was make like a globe with partially obscured, like a moon might look like. And really, you just make something like this and you get that cheesy color palette and you want to have a pink sun floating there, don't you? So then, oh no, there's no sun. It's a moon. It's definitely
a moon. There you go. Maybe it is the sun. They just can't see it for all the reflected light. There you go. But yeah, I think.
And so,
go.
I was just going to say, obviously, as well, highly stylized interpretation, not to scale in any way.
Yeah, no, but
just to give you an idea.
That doesn't matter.
And in case you haven't picked up on it, this is a cross section rather than a plan view. In case anyone's saying, "Oh, why is there a moon on the floor?" In case that's not entirely clear.
No, yeah, this is the Citadel hanging over the edge of the scar. Yeah, I like it. I like the crystalline structure to it, and then that sort of tree of water.
Yeah.
Pumping up from the pit.
Right. Right. You know, and presumably also pumping stuff back down again, unless the shards are all terraforming the planet very slowly and there's water seeping out the top, which is very, very slowly building an atmosphere. What it would do if it wasn't for that pesky dust everywhere.
Yeah. That could be the case. Maybe it evaporates out of the top, slowly forming clouds.
And then it'd be like just transpiration of a tree.
Yeah. So last time we were running through the kingdom buildy part, and we just done I think identify the enemies of the ruler.
Yeah.
And then the question after that is choose one or more problems or goals it's facing, as in the Citadel.
So, I mean, a lot of stuff has already come out of. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the document open. Through the course of creating this, we have sort of popped.
Yeah.
A few ideas have come out organically. Sorry, I've lost that document.
I think I've got it open as well. What you're looking for? So we had the magical disaster from them tinkering with technology that resulted in a retreat from technology, and the emergence of an austere lifestyle. The bit where they were tinkering with technology is quite nicely viewable as well on the map, sort of roughly across from where my finger is, as that's the bit that looks kind of yeah, deadish, and also open to the giant hot dusk basking sun. Well, light, all around 360 light. Then it was, this initially led to a total societal collapse, of which I think most of it, or a lot of the history of that, is fairly unknown, and that is possibly also when they kicked out the people who became the Fallen.
Yeah.
And also where the name the Fallen came from.
Right.
Where one side was like, no, we're not going to use technology or limit it as much as possible, and the people who became the Fallen were like, no, look, it's just one little mishap. We can, if we work harder on it and, you know, try a bit better, we can come up with stuff that will help us.
Yeah.
And they're led by a well, they were initially led by a magic Pope wizard.
Placeholder.
Yeah, magic Pope wizard. In brackets. See, we have a lot of bracket names. They also built the port at the bottom of the well tunnel around the pit area. And it is currently ruled by the clergy, who have a sort of secret service inquisition thing going on, but they're overly complicated at it and create plots that require 70 moving pieces and 15 people to do the thing they need them to do at the same time.
Yeah. Very.
And and the ruler is they choose their rulers by descendants of aforementioned wizard pope. So I think that's pretty much what we, in short terms, what we run through for the Citadel.
I think as well we sort of suggested that the descent thing was very vague. Like, it wasn't a direct primogeniture or anything like that. It was like, oh yeah, you are also a descendant, so you can go in now. It's your turn. One thing that I was thinking about, just because I think I haven't really spent as much time this week as the previous week thinking about it, but which is okay, because the idea is that we do it here.
Yeah, precise.
Obviously, I was thinking about it a little bit when I was doing the diagram. But the other day I was eating my dinner and I was thinking about, have you ever read the Glass Bead Game? So a novel by Hermann Hesse. And it's like set in it was written in the 20th century, and he was like one of these Jungian, Nietzschean guys that were sort of swanning around between the world wars. And it was set in this kind of idealized near future where there was this parallel kind of like academic society, and it's about one person's progression. It's kind of a coming of age story, but in a very weird setting, and it's quite interesting. It's just about this world that's almost entirely based around the pursuit of lofty philosophical goals.
Yeah.
Kind of like and it was effectively, it was a secular kind of monastic order, but secular.
So similar to what we've come up with here then.
Yeah. So it's just that I didn't really think about it until the other day, and then I think if you it's quite a well-known novel, so I thought if you'd read it, there might be the fact you haven't read it.
Yeah.
I'm judging you now. No, I'm not really.
It doesn't matter. I sadly lack for time to read things. So
Yeah.
I'm too busy writing and making worlds with you. I mean,
Yeah, you're forgiven.
if you give me a day off every now and then, I might be able to read something.
Am I in charge of when you have your days off? If that'd be good if we were in charge of one another's days off. I'd like a few more. I've had one today. It's been very, very. I get so much done when I don't have to do anything.
Same, yeah. I get that completely.
So, the reason I wanted to check the notes because I was convinced that we'd already come up with the enemy, and I realised we'd just been talking about the prophet.
Well, I think we'd come up with a broad idea of the fact that the Citadel is things that they need from outside are slowly becoming more expensive, and that sort of thing, and that's indirectly harming them. Well, it's directly harming them, but at the moment it's just sort of a slow thing, and some of this semi-inquisitorial group have realized that, and that's why they're spreading these strange and convoluted plots.
Yeah, and one of them, sorry, not my mic there, one of them possibly being that the prophet is a plant
sent down there to stabilize.
That doesn't mean that he or she doesn't believe that they're legitimate. They might well think the opposite. That makes them all the more convincing and all the more dangerous as a kind of weapon, because in the end, that could come back and bite them. A bit like the CIA funding the Taliban or something like that, or setting up the Mujahideen or... No, wait, what was it?
If you want to go into that list, then we'll be here all evening.
Yeah.
And then there was no Cold War anymore, and it turned out this was a bad idea.
End of history.
There you go. But
how optimistic were the 90s? That was like, history is over. Now we can just get on with just everything being okay. Fucking idiots. Anyway, well, what's next? Do we want to work out another enemy?
Well, it doesn't have. It's a problem or a goal or something. Basically, what they are is they're the large-scale adventure hooks that you create for when the players are in the Citadel or interacting with things that come from the Citadel, or perhaps get involved in plots that the Citadel has spread out there. I can imagine, aside from the port area, that one of the other areas they're probably trying to use these convoluted plots and things to destabilize and ultimately maybe get some control over would be the salt forest as well.
Yep.
Those are both things they're reliant on.
Yeah.
And also being that they levy a salt tax on things that come in from the forest, then obviously if they control all of the salt, then they can levy that tax and sell it to other people. People have to pay more for their salt, but they get the profits out of it.
Yeah, that works.
So maybe not something that they've started on, or it's in a very early stage, but they may be considering moving against the salt forest in a way.
Yeah, definitely further down the line.
Yeah. So I think that's both a couple of problems. Well, at least one problem and a couple of goals at the same time.
Yeah.
So they're trying to influence and control the salt forest and the port, and they've possibly sent this prophet down there but the prophet is equally still probably a threat to them in some way if they gain enough support and notoriety. Because we also last week we also discussed that the prophet probably might even just like want to sit about in the Citadel's library and read and write and study and come up with philosophical texts or whatever, but
because that was the idea, that maybe they were passed over for the position, or they realised they would never get that position for whatever reason, whether that's due to bloodlines or something, or their face not fitting for one or other reason.
They haven't been able to come up with a convoluted piece of paper that traces their bloodline back to the wizard pope somehow. Yeah.
Which is
whereas everyone else just drew a couple of extra lines and went, there you go.
Look, as you can see, the wizard pope's second husband's third aunt's cousin was my great grandmother's sister. So they failed to do that, and now they're paying the price, or ended up at a new destiny has opened up for them. Okay, well that presents some pretty strong hooks to be some bigger picture stuff to be getting on with for problems facing the kingdom, the nation, the city-state. The shard known as the Citadel, or not, or something else. So the next thing was to make a map, and I've obviously just made this
done that
little diagram. I was just thinking it might be fun if we just think about whether the parts of it could mean something, or whether we could apply some labels to them, because we've got like the well running down, which links everything to the pit below. You can see I've put a very poorly drawn crack into one part and faded it out slightly.
No, that's good.
That's potentially
noticeable. That's where the technological mishap happened,
and possibly
magic mishap, most likely,
right. But and possibly where people go and
go to bask in the
the divine light, it
in
burns.
The incandescence, and then go, it is really hot, maybe.
So hot right now. Any other the bits, I mean, when you've got a tower structure, obviously you kind of think about anything vertical as strata. Different strata.
We could we don't necessarily have to be like, all the super important clergy live right at the top. Perhaps they live on the furthest reaches, hanging the furthest over the...
I was just looking at that being where the current wizard pope is dwelling, maybe looking out to the left rather than perched at the top.
I think I like that idea as well, that they sort of the further you hang over the side, the greater your influence is or the further up in society you've managed to get yourself.
Because
so it's not so much about the height as how far you can gaze out over the over everything beneath
over
you.
The blasted west. Okay, so we can imagine that. So the furthest left, the leftmost part of this crystal is where the hierarchy dwells, and maybe also the fact that they're furthest away from the corrupted part maybe is significant as well.
I can give it a go of trying to type something in on here if you want.
Yeah,
It'll
I mean,
be
give it a go if you want.
rough, but
If you want to.
so what we're gonna call it that bit then?
Well, a good one would be the reach, but then we're directly stealing from Spire straight away.
Yeah.
Oh no, well, no, actually, it wasn't called that. It was called something like the. Oh, maybe it was called the reach. I don't know.
We daren't use it now, just in case.
No. The place where the kind of Batman figure hangs out. Yeah.
Oh
None
yeah.
of the spy games I've run or watched have had a bound involved in them.
Yeah.
It's quite a cool character class.
Yeah, but they're all pretty cool character classes.
It's hard to choose. Okay. Well, that's that. It's there. Other parts that stand out.
I will call it Wizard Pope for the moment.
And why not?
Font size 36 seems a bit big. Never actually typed anything in here live before, so we'll find out how well that goes. Wizard Pope. Where is it? Oh right, it's at the back, but it's also probably ginormous. Or it is very small. That's also a possibility. It's not very clear, is it? Let's see if I can change that. I'll put
Well, while you're doing
sorry.
I mean, typing apparently.
Yeah. There we go. It says Wizard Pope now. The Wizard Pope lives there. This is a thing that is known. Don't worry, dear viewer, who is also Sofinho. We'll clean it up for next time.
I'm having a thought. I wonder if it'd be quicker if I if I numbered the image that I made and then sent it to you with the numbers on, and then you swap it out for that one. If that would be quicker.
That's a possibility.
Although I bet that's that's from Discord, isn't it? I uploaded to Discord, and which means it's just a screen grab. So anything I say.
Yes, no, it's the actual picture.
How did I send the actual picture though? I mean, what I mean is I sent on Discord.
Oh, you sent it as a screen grab. Well, if you chuck it into the chat on Discord, I can download it. Do it like that. Yeah. If you want.
It won't be exactly the same size.
That's okay.
All I was going to do was put numbers on it, and that might not be very interesting for people to wait But if we did do like a quick numbering across the section, we could do the. Yeah, well then we could. Yeah. I was just going to say we could do the dice drop on page 1, 2, 3 for each part, like maybe like 4 parts, and then it could just be like, oh, here we've got a load of stuff like the 100-page, well, like the one roll terrain features, but chuck it onto this one. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm fine with that if you want.
I think it's gonna. Yeah, or we could just do that another time and move
Yeah.
on to something that isn't going to involve people waiting around for us to fiddle with technology. Maybe. What would be next?
After the rough map of the area, etc., is place ethnic groups and demi-humans. And I think we might also need to circle back at some point to our linguistic touchstone. Before we start building out societies. Or we could just... Well, I don't think there's really a lot of demi-humans going on so far in what we've created.
Definitely not in the traditional sense, right?
No, yeah.
But
Not going to be like elves and humans and elves and dwarves and gnomes and hobbitses and...
But we have said that there's kind of a group that are perceived as non-human, and that they have cousins in the salt forest, like the Fallen and
the Ruskan traders.
You can't say that. You can't say that for multiple reasons, not just copyright reasons. Okay. Well, do you want to? Well, what are you saying? You want to look at another nation?
We could do that as well if you want.
Up to you. I'm conscious of like doing stuff that might...
I mean, we could also run through the flesh out society and style of your kingdom. We don't need to give everything fancy. Are we gonna run with your choice of linguistic touchstone, or...
Well, I don't know. I mean, you had no comment on it.
I have no problem with it either, so... I'm just... to be honest, my Sanskrit is a bit rusty, so...
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
This is good, though, because, you know, you can just use an online dictionary and then...
and offend large parts of...
large numbers of academics. That's who you offend by messing up Sanskrit. Mainly.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah. Their world building wasn't 100% accurate.
The point is, it's a linguistic touch.
Yeah,
not a conlang or
something
like that. So, you know, you're allowed to mash together words in a way that, and swap out consonants. Like I said, maybe that requires a bit of preparation and forethought.
Well, we could dive into the society stuff, and we don't have to chuck the names in for everything at the moment, unless you really fancy going on to the next nation and fleshing that out a bit more.
Let's roll on with this society, because I think the only thing about this is like there's some decisions in terms of like you make a choice about where's societies? Yeah.
Page 128.
Got it. You make choices about who you're describing, as in like we say, oh, we're going to roll on these tables for people who live in this nation, this crystalline shard, or we are going to break it down into parts, and they're going to be different communities or cultures
per crystal in this case.
Oh yeah.
Like
possibly.
Different boroughs essentially, but like built out around crystal areas. And
well, hey, look, we've been going for 35 minutes. We haven't rolled any dice, so let's do a a dice drop
Don't have to roll dice.
for the. Yes, you do. It's the rules.
Is it? Oh, we've been playing RPGs wrong then.
Yeah.
Especially Brian.
129.
Yeah.
Yeah. A dice drop of all the dice, and you have them all at your disposal.
I do. I have them here with me. Pretty. So, do you want me to start with a D8?
No.
You want me to
D4.
start?
Oh wait, it's not a
D4.
dice drop. It's you've got D4, D8, D8, D12,
Yeah.
D20. Oh, that's hugely disappointing.
Oh,
I thought
well.
you could just do a roll all the dice. Okay, well we'll start with D8. Typical skin colours in the populace. Okay, well why not? Let's just roll and see what we get.
That's one of those things when I'm world building that I probably don't even bother to think about. I don't think I've ever made large descriptions of like people by their skin color.
Well, I kind of like the Star Trek approach to aliens of like, they're humans but green. Like before they did the whole plastic forehead kind of thing in like Next Generation and stuff. Like the original series. It was
Yeah.
yellow humans. And
there you go. And weirdly bronzed-faced Klingons. But yeah.
Yeah, that's problematic.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right. So what did you roll?
Broke an 8.
Oh no! Scales, fur, or unusual
Well,
body type.
I was just going to say, do we have multiple different types of species in the
Yes.
thingy? Because I was just going to say, like, if we end up with scales or whatever, you know, we still have our parrot people.
Well, scales and fur and feathers. Yeah.
So we could say feathers.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
I'm not really attached to the parrot people.
No, neither am I. Now, if they were budgie people.
Yeah. There's an.
No.
Yeah.
Do you want me to re-roll it or?
No, we gotta stick with it if we're gonna roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, they just have like patches of scale on their body, like in different areas.
Yeah. But I think the earliest time-wise legend or like they came here somehow and just ended up on this planet with these shards and unable to leave. So it may well have been nothing in that precludes it, you know, being multiple species that were traveling together at the time and ended up there rather than just, you know.
All right, so we have multiple.
But no elves or dwarves or hobbits.
So we have some.
So one of them has scales and fur or scales or
it's a choice, isn't
not
it?
feathers.
For
Yeah.
or
an unusual hide type.
I mean,
They're a bit flaky.
Yeah. They have a poor skincare regime.
Yeah. They're all the people who go down to that one particular bit and bask in the sunlight.
Yeah.
They end up with scales and flaky skin because burning yourself in the sun is not a good idea.
No. And yeah, if you've seen Sunshine, the movie, you will know that. Is it Sunshine? The Danny Boyle sci-fi with Cillian Murphy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Catherine Young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, though, if you've been outside when it's really hot and sunny, you'll know that as well.
Sure, but that would be an extreme example of what can go wrong if you do that.
Yeah.
Not just like skin cancer or sunburn. It's like you become an eldritch being somehow. It wasn't really
Mm.
very well explained that, nor the idea that it had consultant physicists on that film.
To
I think
be
it was more.
honest, eldritch beings do not need to explain themselves.
No, exactly.
Or maybe the consultant physicists know something we don't.
That's a possibility. Have you seen the one of the Cloverfields where they're on a space station? The Cloverfield movie. Is it the Cloverfield paradox? They're on a space station, and it has Is it Chris O'Dowd, the guy from the IT Crowd?
Oh, right, yeah.
And he's doing a bit of straight acting, straight as in non-comedic acting. Although his character is mildly comedic, mainly because it's him. And so I don't know. I mean, it's hard to know. He just everything he says just kind of does sound like he's about to start an amusing anecdote or say something ridiculous. There's a scene where, no, I mean this will be a spoiler, but there's a scene where something horrible happens to him, and he's trying to make sense of what's this horrible but slightly ridiculous thing that's happened to him. And it's just hilarious because you just imagine it occurring in the IT Crowd. Brace yourself for that if you're about to watch that movie. They got some bad reviews, those movies, but I quite enjoy them. I quite like.
To be honest, after the first one, I don't think I was even vaguely aware that there were any more.
Well, they're quite different. There's one with John Goodman in a bunker where he kidnaps a woman who is played by I've forgotten her name, Canadian actor. But yeah, that's quite creepy because he's kind of telling her that it's the end of the world. You have to stay in my bunker and be safe. And she's like, I don't think so. And there's another man down there who's like, oh no, it's really happening. And then you think, is it really happening? Or is he crazy? And it turns out it is really happening, and he's crazy. So it's like double threat.
Both.
Double threat. Yeah. So that's quite good. And then and there's one in space, which is the silliest. They're all pretty silly, aren't they? It's about interdimensional monsters. I shouldn't be saying things are silly when I'm staring at my own picture of a giant crystal tree with a pink.
We're serious people with serious world building.
Yeah, I do serious world building by rolling a dice and going, some people have got unusual hide type.
Yeah, so. And going, do we want parrot people or not?
Well, I'm not that attached to parrot people. No. Okay, so we've got some scaly people, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
And what else?
Do you want to roll, or am I rolling again?
How about like all the other ones are just all different varieties of ordinary human skin colours, more or less. So we could say there are some people with scales, and then all the other range of colours
just people.
Are just there. Yeah, these are also present. I actually did. So I've been doing these monster entries for Pariah recently, and I did make little miniature tables for some reason. When I did the Wandering Monster tables last year, I put an entry for Titan. I didn't really think about it any more than that, other than like, is it a giant? Is it a god?
Oh,
is
yeah,
it
no, I've read that, yeah.
In the sense of like Attack on Titan, like an ogre type thing. I'll leave it and let people work it out. And then I realised, I should really say what it is.
Oh.
I made these kind of,
I'm sad now.
These ancient, it's a very old trope, like ancient giants that lived before humans. I thought, okay, I'm gonna put that in, and then if people want to make more of that, they can, because then they can do like a If they want to go down the Ancient Aliens route with Pariah, which you can, can be fun, even though we don't like it when people talk about it on History Channel.
Mainly don't like that it's on the History Channel.
Yeah,
like its existence is fine.
That's
but
it. I mainly don't like how closely tied up ancient alien theorists are with like all other weird views like flat Earth and like Holocaust denial. Not fun. Sorry, I promise I wouldn't say stuff that you're gonna have to.
Oh, that's all right.
But these horrible people exist. Anyway, so I did little mini tables for what the Titans might look like when you meet them, and it was things like their hair is, it's made of seaweed, or goodness me, I'm talking about stuff that I haven't actually published because this is an amendment I made today. It's not online. Spoilers. I'm spoiling myself. Anyway, in conclusion,
so you'll want to nab that in the future. Now that you know that there's a whole section on Titans, and they may or may not be based on ancient aliens. How can you possibly find out if you don't go to Sofinho's itch, or I don't know what's best for you, but go there and throw money at him until he tells you.
Well, don't. Everything you can download everything for free. It's not like apart from the first Pariah volume, but you can get. And then after that,
throw money at him.
Yeah. I don't think anyone seeing me in this stream in particular is going to have any particular desire to throw money at me. I'm really losing my my mental thread.
Well, we'll let you off as you are actually ill, and so the fact that you're willing to come on and attempt to keep track of everything we've come up with so far.
Yeah, I'm maybe not doing such a great job. This is so I mean, maybe I think like the standout thing between the different shards is cultural rather than physical. Yeah, I think
the whole physical appearance we can leave, save for maybe like a common form of adornment that'll probably be different between the shards.
Yeah, that could be fun.
Yeah, and then actual eye color, hair color.
I mean,
the build. I mean, that doesn't matter.
I get it. 'Cause if you wanted to have like your classic,
if
Dark Age Europe, kind of thing,
then you're gonna create weird non-existent differences between people. But
it's always worth remembering that there's more diversity within a population than between populations. Like there's a thing like the tallest man in the world is from China, and up until recently so was the shortest man. And one of the reasons for that is because there are like more than 1 billion people in China.
That does help.
So they account for a big chunk of the. And the other thing is that our population, also it's about like where you. Anyway, I don't want to get into assessing like, ethnicity.
I will roll a d12 then to help you. Then you can talk about that for a bit. 5. Role or class specific clothing items. Something. That all art is a big part of it for the entire shard in the Citadel. So maybe they do have sort of an adornment per style of art, like some people are crystal shapers, and others paint, and
Yeah. So they wear different coloured aprons. Yeah.
aprons.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. This kind of society, you imagine like, oh yeah, they're all walking around in robes all the time, and I like that image a lot because you go to a monastery, they look really chilled out, walking around in their robes.
That might be it. Everyone walks around in robes, but specifically artists have like an apron over it as well.
Well, I was going to say
art.
the robe thing is just kind of it is overdone, right? So it's like so I was maybe it is just aprons or overalls or something that could be more practical.
Could be like
you don't really want to be wearing a robe when you're like chiseling away at sculpture or something, right? You might do.
We do want to like, how can we tie their dress code into the big themes that we've created for this?
Good call.
Science, romance style sword
non-dystopian aprons.
No, I was just thinking more sort of like what would be more of an idea of a sword and fantasy style,
Yeah. Probably would be robes.
Would be robes, yeah. That's what. That was also my conclusion afterwards. Like I was trying to think. Right. John Carter, yeah, that's pretty much robes or very little.
Or very little, yeah. So very little. But also hats.
The hats are important,
right? Different hats, different shaped hats. Unusual hats, elaborate hats.
They might have different hats per crystal that you live in.
Right.
Like, oh no, this is the current style in Wizard Pope crystal or what?
the overhang. No.
Yeah. Then it just seems like the crystal sucking beer up from starting to get a bit of a gut.
Hangover?
I'm projecting on the crystal.
No,
yeah.
You may be. All right.
Which is convenient because it's a crystal, so it's quite easy to project with.
Yeah, you're stretching your metaphors.
Yeah.
You're going to end up.
I love doing that. So.
You end up with a pataphor.
Or just confusing gibberish.
Same thing. All right. Values of the society.
Yeah.
So.
A D100.
Let's roll one each, and then see if we feel like we want to roll a third one. Because I think.
Who's rolling the tens? You.
Oh right. I was going to say 1D100 roll each, but.
Oh right. Okay. Yeah. No. Sure. That's fine.
You do it your way. Your weird way.
No, I'm rolling a D100 now.
Okay. Oh. That's weird.
70. Vengeance.
70.
The execution. Just vendettas.
Oh.
Wow.
That was unexpected.
They suddenly got very. Shall we flip that around to 7? Eloquence and social expertise.
That seems.
That fits more. Yeah.
Cool.
It's very non-dystopian, except for the vendettas and just full vengeance. So.
Well, here's a thought that I was thinking. Here's another thought I had. It's a little bit tropey, but I think we've got to. Don't worry about a few cliches here and there. Broadly speaking, in these non-dystopian societies, like we imagine, or I would imagine, that there would be very little violence, or maybe, mind you, non-dystopian. Maybe. So I was thinking about the idea of a big fudging. I was saying fudging swords, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe there's just a tradition of when there's like the possibility of a violent altercation, like it just there's this established fact that well, violence can, even a fight can lead to serious injury or death. So if you're willing to instigate violence, you have to say, I'm willing to kill you. So you're effectively like a duel, right? You're effectively going like, but it's like, we will meet tomorrow in 24 hours. Yeah. But in that time, there's lots of like cooling off. It's just duels. It's just duels.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
But like a control, a social control. And just as part of that, everyone is carrying on a massive sword with them at all times, but they never use it. It's just kind of decorative. That's pretty silly now that I say that out loud. Forget what I just said.
It's a possibility, though. Because, like, the problem with duels in the olden days was obviously that they had that idea that, you don't fight it out straight away. So it gives the seconds time to discuss a possible resolution to the duel and so forth. But because of the societal requirement for you not to be seen as a coward, in general, no one would be willing to back out of it or come up with a solution that didn't involve them at least standing across from each other and firing in the air.
Yeah.
Just so that perception of, bravery could be upheld. So whilst they may have created this non-dystopian idea of duels, like, oh no, you've got 24 hours to think about it, and then you have these big swords, are you sure you want to go through with it? There may also be an influence of, well, if you don't go through with it. But that doesn't really fit with the Citadel, so we can keep it, we can sideline it for one of the other shards.
We can, or both of the others.
Or the Fallen, or because they probably have some rules on how.
Yeah.
Like, they're more likely to have reasons to argue because their life is probably a lot harsher.
That's true. That's true. Have you seen the Fry and Laurie? It's so old. You must have seen it more than once. The dual sketch where they have like, sword or pistol, and he goes, sword. Excellent choice. The weapon of a true gentleman. And he sort of goes, and here's your pistol, sir, to the other person. He goes, no, hold on a minute. And then they have an argument, and they end up deciding the only thing they have two of that are of equal like efficacy are the handkerchiefs, so they have to like beat each other with the handkerchiefs in the end. So it's fair because I only brought a pistol and a sword. I thought that's how it worked, and they say like, no, it's a choice. He goes, oh yeah, that's much better. Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah. I did think when you chose sword, that's very unusual. But, yeah. Well, we can come back to fighting, and we have the eloquence and social expertise.
Yeah.
I, on the other hand, rolled 31, which is subtlety and indirectness of action.
That seems to.
It does go with the
fit with that. Yeah, that whole elaborate plotting theme.
Yeah.
Obviously means if you're running a game and the players get involved with the Citadel in some way, you're going to have to put a lot of effort into coming up with very elaborate plots.
Well, they can be so elaborate. This is why I was driving over before. They can be so elaborate and so subtle that there's not really that
Not
much
really.
happening. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a bit like, I don't know if you've ever run campaigns like that where you've just put quite a few subtle things on the go, but you realise about halfway through the campaign you're like,
That no one's noticed.
no, not only has no one picked up on this is so long term that it's just not gonna happen.
Do, do, do.
Like, yeah, okay. All right, there's a dragon. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think those two fit. How many values do we have to do? 2?
We could do another one if we want.
Do you want another one, or do you think?
That's fine.
No, I think it.
Eloquence and social expertise,
Yeah,
subtlety and indirectness of action.
seems to fit them quite well. Societal organisation.
Well, I mean, we've talked about clergy and arts and craft and religious contemplation and academia and the influence of a hierarchical church over those things. I don't think. Yeah, I
don't think it really needs
No.
a specific role that could end up with war bands or civic military service groups.
Right.
And then like, oh, how do we fit that into that?
I'm also gonna give.
Because you'd need a rather sturdy shoehorn to get things in between those crystals.
Yeah, gonna give the example template societies table a miss as well.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine rolling modern day America. Oof. But yeah. Cool. Okay. So, looking at our kingdom, we've fleshed out a little bit, but like I said, I think most of that stuff has just come out of our conversation, especially last week.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not keen on going in for some any addition. We did talk about some local gods and stuff like further down.
Yeah,
as we're getting into.
I think did we keep that there or did we move that to the Nexus?
I think
in the end,
I think we did
because I think then it sort of became apparent that this was definitely more structured religious shard, and whereas the Nexus sort of has more space for their religion being a little more loose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I think we've pretty much got the Citadel down. We know what it is, what it does, who's there, roughly.
Yeah, I think so. And I was going to say that's a good chance for me to say I don't know if I can go on.
Oh no, sure, yeah, fine. Thank you for managing to make it in general, and
apologies.
Go on for a bit.
To you and your viewers. Not that there are any here now, but your future viewers. For I'm not in best form at the moment. So
I mean, you're one of my viewers at the moment.
So I am apologising to myself. I'm sorry I put myself through this.
Well, if you feel that way about it, I'm sorry.
As viewer,
sorry we forced you. I and yourself forced you into.
Yeah. Sofinho and Lewis, really.
They're the worst influences on you, aren't they?
Well, I only did it for the viewers, so I'm blaming Sofinho.
Yeah.
For this. So, this is getting a bit demented.
He better leave a good comment.
He better. I'm gonna do his next.
Well,
all right.
I think I've put the Scar picture back up now. Then, as we've wrapped up the Citadel, I think next week well, whenever you're feeling a bit better.
Yeah.
Um,
next week.
Yeah, we'll continue on with the next kingdom. Maybe roll randomly again and see who we get to
Yeah, that's a good
construct. And then, yeah, in general, thank you for staying with me this long, rather than lying in your bed and recovering. And for all the effort you put into the picture and everything. So, good job. I forgot to mention to people who are likely watching this on YouTube, as if they were watching it on Twitch, we didn't notice. Like and subscribe and follow on Twitch. But we'll be back again.
Or don't.
Yeah, that's your... See, we tried it your way last time and I got 0 extra subscribers or likers, and so okay. It seemed to be... Yeah, they listen to your words, have influence over people.
You're still here now. You should like and subscribe.
Wow, that's it. My ratings are going to shoot up now.
Ring that bell icon to receive notifications.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you again with the next kingdom in the Scar. Thank you, and good evening, or night, or wherever you are. Goodbye.